everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. My name's Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. And today I wanted to show you how I made a pretty simple card, but so pretty, that is part of the Festive Friday challenges. And this time we do a challenge every other week, and this time we were challenged to make a card using the based on National Best Friends Day. And so every Festive Friday, every 2 weeks, we post a challenge for some kind of festivity, and we challenge you to make a card that uses at least 3 items from the inspiration list that we provide with the challenge. And so the inspiration list this time for this challenge included things like feminine, pink, sparkle, a friendship sentiment, patterned paper, ribbon, a 3D item, embossing paste, or swirls. And so we were challenged to pick 3 things, at least 3 things from that, and to make a card. So my card uses the Happiness Abounds stamp set, as well as the Hues of Happiness Designer Series paper from that collection. And it uses pink, a friendship sentiment, and patterned paper as from the inspiration list. I could have chosen lots of things. This was a really easy, it's kind of feminine too, so I probably could say that I used that. And my embellishment has a little bit of a sparkle to it, so maybe I could have used that too. But I have used the 3, which is what the criteria is. So I want to show you how you can make this is using just a little tiny bit of designer series paper. I know we all have a hard time cutting our designer series paper and using it. I'm only using a very small amount, and you could actually just use scraps. We all have scraps for this. So let me switch over to my desktop and we will get started. All right, so first of all, here is the Happiness Abounds stamp set. It is just so pretty. These sentiments are amazing. I love it when there is this kind of leading tail and ending tail to the words. It just, I don't know why I like those, but I do. And it's got all sorts, you know, thanks, friend, best wishes, happy birthday, congratulations, all sorts of great sentiments. And then these flowers that you can stamp. You could use the designer series paper because one side has great patterns on it and the other side is kind of a watercolor background. And so you could actually stamp on the back of the designer series paper and then use the dies, because I'm not using the dies today, but there are dies that go with these. So you could cut them out. There are also pieces of the designer series paper that you can cut out with the dies that go along with this bundle. So it's really nice bundle. It is a photopolymer stamp set, and these images are at 90% of their actual size. So they are larger. It's kind of like this side mirror. Things are larger in real life. So these are bigger than what they show on here. So don't be fooled by that. All right, so let's bring in my supplies. So I'm using Melon Mambo. I don't use Melon Mambo much, but this paper, this is the paper I'm using. So I'm only using little bits, but this is Melon Mambo and Daffodil Delights. So that's kind of what I'm using for my card. So I have got a piece of Melon Mambo. Grab my paper trimmer because I always use my paper trimmer to do my scoring. So using the scoring blade. So this is 5.5 by 8.5. And I'm scoring it at 4 1/4. So all of the measurements, written instructions, and supply list for this card are on my blog, and the link to my blog is underneath this video. So you'll be able to go out and get it if you've missed any of the measurements. So as always, this is the side I score on. This is the side, the raised line, or I call it the mountain. So fold into the mountain or the raised line, and then use your bone folder to give a good burnish. So now I've got a good kind of crease on mine. All right, so then I've got a piece of basic white cardstock that I've cut 4 inches by 5 1/4. And we're going to do some stamping on here in Melon Mambo. I want to just add a background image or background kind of texture to this. So I am just going to stamp randomly on here in Melon Mambo, some on and some off the the basic white cardstock just to kind of fill in. You can fill it up as much or as little as you want. There we go. Some of this is going to be covered over. So it just kind of gives a bit of texture to my card. Now I've gone ahead and cut 2 pieces of Melon Mambo cardstock, and these are 2 1/4 by 2 inches. And then 2 pieces of designer series paper that are 2 inches by 1 3/4. So we're just going to adhere these pieces to the Melon Mambo so it gives a bit of a layer to it. So you can see the back of these. It's great. It's kind of got a watercolor. I've kind of cut this, but it's multiple colors, and oh, they're, gosh, so pretty. It's hard to decide which side I'm going to use. So we're going to adhere these. You could use Stampin' Seal. I'm using my liquid glue. You could even use dimensionals if you wanted even more texture or dimension to it. I'm actually going to use dimensionals to adhere these to the card base. So I didn't want to use dimensionals on this piece as well. But if you like your it popped up, you could absolutely do that. All right, so these pieces are now going to go on. We're just going to put them a little bit off center. You could put them in the middle if you want. You can make this card. My card is a portrait card, but you could absolutely make it a landscape card if you wanted to. All sorts of ways to change this up. So I'm just using 4 dimensionals. Let's take all the backing off. There we go. I don't know about you, but I find that those backings all over the place. All right, so let's just kind of put this. I'm gonna just kind of, I'm not pressing this down. I want to get them kind of in for position so that they're roughly even, about 1/2 inch or so from the left-hand side and 1/2 inch from the bottom, and straight. Let's see if I put my grid paper. If you line up your piece on the grid paper, it really does help you get your cardstock pieces, your layers on straight. And then let's take this one and just adjust it a little bit like that. There we go. That's pretty straight. Okay, and then we can take and adhere this on to the card base. So you can see this is a really quick and easy card. And I love it when I start using up my pieces of designer series paper, because I have such a hard time throwing out or recycling. I don't throw out, but recycling when you get little pieces. So I tend to save all these little pieces, and I'm sure you do too. So this is a great way to use them up. Isn't that pretty? Okay, now I've got a scrap piece, and I've got my Daffodil Delight. And I've got my friend stamp. So I'm going to just take this scrap and I'm going to stamp friend in Daffodil Delight. And if you follow me, you know that I like to fussy cut sentiments. And so I'm just going to take my paper snips and I'm going to cut around. You could use a die or a punch, or even you could cut a piece of basic white cardstock using your paper trimmer, and stamp on it if you don't like to fussy cut. One of the tricks to fussy cutting is you're steering with the hand that doesn't have the scissors. So you're moving your paper with that, and that just makes it a whole lot easier to fussy cut rather than steering with the scissors themselves. Just a tip for you. All right, and then we're going to use dimensionals. Now, I'm going to put this here. So I'm going to use actually I'm going to use a mini dimensional because this is kind of small. All right, so I always have a hard time getting the mini dimensionals off, so I tend to use my take your pick tool. So I'm using 1 dimensional on this side, and because this piece that I'm adhering it to is already popped up, I'm going to have to put 2 layers of dimensionals. So put 1 dimensional down, take the backing off, and add another dimensional on top of it. And that will, oops, let's get the dimensional off this one too. That will make this so that the right-hand side doesn't sag lower. So this will be all the same height, because nothing's worse if you get a saggy, in my opinion, a saggy sentiment. So double dimensional, the right-hand side, because it's popped up. Now, if you just adhered this side, the left-hand side flat, then you wouldn't have to double dimensional that other side. But all right, now we are going to add on, aren't these pretty? These are the glossy dot assortment. They come as part of the Hues of Happiness suite. So I'm going to add some of these really pretty Daffodil Delights. So there's Gorgeous Grape, Melon, Mambo, Daffodil Delight, and Pool Party. But because I'm kind of accenting here, let's where should I put this one? Let's put that one there. And so there's 3 different sizes, so we'll put one there. So I've got 3 ones. So you could put more on if you want, but we'll just do 3. Now for the inside of my card, I've got a piece of basic white cardstock, and I've got the sentiment that says, "You are wonderful in every way." Perfect for a friend. And so we'll stamp that in Melon Mambo, and then we'll just put 1 flower in the corner like that. And then this can adhere. Now, somebody asked me on a recent video, or comment on a video, is whether or not I find that I get ridges on the inside of my card, or you can see ridges because I'm using the liquid glue. I haven't noticed that, but a couple of tips is I try not to use a ton of glue, and I also try to smooth it over. One, because this is just making sure that the glue adheres. It adheres really well, but it just takes a little bit. So I try to make sure that it has adhered, so it's not slipping. That's one of the beauties of the liquid glue, is it gives you a little bit of wiggle room to move your cardstock around. But one of the downsides is it can shift if you're not, you don't let it kind of set for just a few seconds. So I just take and rub my finger over the piece, and that may be why I don't get the ridges. And also I don't use a ton of glue. So you don't need a lot, just enough to hold it in place. All right, isn't that a pretty card? And it's perfect for National Best Friends Day. This is such a pretty suite. And if you haven't looked at it, it's called Hues of Happiness, and it is from the Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog. So don't forget to check it out. If you're interested, the Creativity Abounds design team has a stamp camp coming up on the 22nd and 23rd, I believe, of July. It's the Friday, Saturday in North America. If you're in Australia, it's the Friday, Saturday, and I believe that's the 23rd, 24th of July. And I may be out by a day, but it is the Friday, Saturday of that weekend in July. And you can register by purchasing the Hues of Happiness collection, as well as an extra roll of ribbon that you're going to need. So there is information on my blog for how you can register. When you register, you will receive a make and take kit with, I think it's 12 projects. I'm not sure if everybody's participating. So it's either 12 or 13 make and take projects that I will send you for free, as well as the PDF instructions and YouTube videos for all of those make and takes. And you will have access to a Facebook group that we will be sharing 13 bonus projects, or 12 bonus projects, as many bonus projects as you have make and takes, that you will be able to use your product and your stamp set and dies and ribbon and these glossy dots to make these bonus projects. So in the end, you will get a lot of projects using this suite of product. So if you're interested in registering, there is information on my blog. Again, it's at the end of July, so you have some time to register. If you don't live in Canada and you are interested, you can reach out. There are demonstrators in the US, the UK, and Australia, so you can purchase from them and get the same make and take kit, as well as access to the Facebook group. So just if you're interested and you love this product suite as much as I do, that's an opportunity for you. All right, everybody, thanks so much for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you get notified when I post a new video or do a live. And otherwise, I hope you have a great day. Happy stamping. Bye.